Hey y'all, it's Rachel with Stella Rose. I want to apologize. I've not had time to film an intro, but we're going to get right into this. This is Sammie's Unicorn Dust Designs Try It Tuesday. My first of two projects was hers from a few weeks back in the fall. She did these really pretty candlesticks that she had found on Pinterest, and I thought, oh my gosh, I absolutely love those. So I went downstairs in my basement where I have all kinds of stuff that I've thrifted over, the last few years, and I found some candlesticks. And that same day, there was a garage sale where you see these beautiful florals. They were all there. All of this ended up coming at one point in time or another from Hobby Lobby. So I glued the green floral foam that I had in the basement to the top of the metal part of the candlesticks. Then I took my multi-tool, and you see me here scraping off all the way around the edges, so it was a perfect circle on the top, and so it matched the top of the candlestick. I then took E6000 for the long-term hold and hot glue for the instant hold and attached it to the top of the floral foam. I held it down with some pressure, and then I set them aside while I took some wire cutters and I cut down all of the stems for the florals that I'm going to use for this arrangement here. When designing stuff, I usually think things look better in odd numbers, 3s, 5s, 7s, etc. So I'm doing this in sets of 3s to start off for the main flowers. I did 3 sunflowers, and then I put the one aside, the candlestick aside, and did 3 on the other one. And then when I was cutting off the stems, the wire stems, I was kind of dividing out the size of the flowers and putting them in different little sections and areas, so I knew what size was where and what to grab from to kind of fill what area. And I wanted to make sure that all of the floral foam was completely covered all the way around. I did speed this up because it took a really long time, and I put some in, took some out, moved them around, played with it a little bit. But once I had all of the big flowers in, then I just started cutting out and taking apart the little ones that were in groupings, like in picks that had a couple of small things together, and I pulled them apart and I stuck them in separately so that they were all covered all the way around. This was so simple. Absolutely the easiest thing I've done in a long time, and I thank you, Sammie. They turned out beautifully. You had a great idea. I couldn't remember which video it was, and Sammie wasn't positive either, but if we can figure it out, I will link it in my description box below so you guys can go back and watch her candlesticks as well. They're beautiful. For my second project for Try It Tuesday, I am doing something from Julie's Wreath Boutique. If you want to learn how to do wreaths and petals, she is your gal. So I got some zip ties together. I went and I did buy some poly burlap. It was $5 at Hobby Lobby, and I had a wood burner. She suggests to cut them with a wood burner because then it won't fray along the edges. And the mat that I had on the underside burns, so I used a silicone cooking mat to stop it. But that wood burner would not burn or cut through them, and I was so frustrated. So I gave up real quick and did it with the scissors. So then I took all of my 10-inch pieces, they were cut to 10 inches long, poly burlap, home so I could finish the wreath, and they had frayed, which is why you use the wood burner to stop them from fraying. So I sat there and I burned the edges of them all the way down, each one that I had already cut, so that it would stop the fraying from the poly burlap pieces, because then they were getting stringy and stuck all over the place. So I got home, and what she says to do is for this particular petal that she does, is to fold it in half, scrunch up the center section, and then you have 2 little points. And then you can take either side. One side you can use it, I think she said, as like a poinsettia petal, or you can roll it over like I did on the top and then have the petals curled under, and so they're rounded on the top. And then she said you just take the zip tie and you tie it to the center section of the cross, like I'm doing right here. I zoomed in for you. I do have multiple sclerosis, so sometimes doing small things with my fingers is I drop a lot of stuff, so it may take me a few times to get it, but I eventually did get that through the zip tie end, and I tightened it down. And then I fluffed it up a little and I attached my second one. I took the poly burlap, folded it in half, scrunched just the center section, folded it outwards, and then flipped it over so that the rounded part was facing on the outside of it. And then I strapped it down to the center 2 bars of the cross there with a zip tie. I did space them out about 2 inches all the way up. This poly burlap roll said that it was 30 foot long, and being that it was 10 inches each one, I should have had 30 pieces, but I only had 20. So I'm not sure how that ended up that way. But here I did. I went and sped it up so you guys didn't have to watch every single one that I did. And then when I came to the top section of the cross, I went again from the outside and I worked my way inwards from both sides. And then I did that from the top too. I started at the top and worked my way into the center section again, as you see here. Once I got all 4 sides done of the cross, I flipped it over and I cut all of the edges of all the hanging parts of the zip ties. And then where they all came together in the center section, I wanted to put some type of greenery. I cut up an entire Christmas tree last year, so we'd have all kinds of different greenery for whatever purpose I needed it for crafting. And I wanted to cut off, so there are certain sections, as you can see here, that look more like pine needles than the other parts of the tree. So I took those, that's what I wanted to use. And I first attempted to tie them all on with floral wire, but they would not stay. So I ended up zip tying those as well. I didn't want to hot glue them so that the greenery can be changed out throughout the year. I love plaid, and I know other people do too. And this could be a year-round wreath if you want to change the floral out to something different, or the greenery out to something different during another part of the season. I had also thrifted some of the pip berries and the pine cones that had pip berries on them, and they had floral wire attached to them. So I was able to wiggle them in there, bend them around, and then I zip tied them to the bottom and the back side as well. This is the first time that I have ever worked with poly burlap. I did some deco mesh wreaths well over a decade ago, and I didn't really like how clingy and sticky this stuff was. This was a lot easier to use. Let me know which project you guys liked in the comments. I will go ahead and put a link to both Sammie from Unicorn Dust Design and Julie's from Julie's Wreath Boutique in the description box below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys next time. Have a great night. Bye.